I now call this meeting of the Amateur Detective Club to order. My name is Tristan Miller. I'm the saucy sleuth.
I'm Melissa Meli, the spy.
I'm Tyler Riley, cop and a half.
Today's show is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Just go to audibletrial.com/adcpod and browse the unmatched selection of audio programs. Download a title free and start listening. It's that easy. Go to audibletrial.com/adcpod. Do we have a book recommendation at all?
There is a book. I am friends with voiceover artist narrator Will M. Watt, and he is narrating a book called Malamander, which I plan on reading. Look it up. It sounds really cool, really interesting. It's a YA novel. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I'm really excited for it. It sounds great. Look it up.
Malamander, how do you spell that?
Like salamander, but with an M.
Great.
On a similar note, I would recommend the first story narrated by a friend of the show, Tucker Daly Johnson.
Yeah.
That is up on Audible.
Who dat? Just kidding. Love you, Tucker.
Also, I'm in the middle of the Mr. Rogers biography, which is narrated by LeVar Burton.
Oh,
so if you need
that's
to
really
cry,
sweet.
If you need to like force out some tears because you're emotionally constipated, it's a good
one.
So, what's the episode we're talking about today?
We're doing The Lost Mine.
Semicolon, whoever smelt it, dealt it. It'll make sense later.
Yes.
The Lost Mine is the 4th episode in the 2nd season of our series of Agatha Christie's Poirot. And it is also based on a short story that Tristan and I have read.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Some differences, and I think they're changes for the better, to be honest. I think it works more smoothly.
I don't remember the short story at all.
Okay.
No, I mean, that's not true. I do remember. I vaguely remember it, but I don't remember the differences.
Over, 2 years ago, we read it, or something like that.
Something like that.
Thank you for your honesty, and I would like to be honest about something. I do not know or have memorized the entire works of Agatha Christie.
Oh, yeah.
Just putting that out there. I don't remember offhand all of her books and short stories.
Especially if we have not yet read them.
Yeah. That is nearly impossible.
The one that everyone knows is, of course, Murder on the Orient Express.
Cheers.
Cheers to that.
We all have water and coffee today. It's one of those days.
Yeah, double-fisted.
So, there might be some clinking of glasses.
Clanking.
Yes.
Chitty chitty bang bang, we love you. So, this opens on Poirot and Arthur Hastings playing Monopoly.
Oh my goodness, it's the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, Monopoly. I didn't realize it was around this early in
the 30s?
Yeah.
Apparently it wasn't.
That's hysterical.
It came out like a year later.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, IMDb Trivia.
That's fun.
Oh, yeah, all right.
And they're also playing it wrong as well, because they rolled 9 and he only moved 7 or 8 spaces. It's a delight.
It's truly... it's one of the best... it's right up there with all the good Hastings Poirot interactions that you can imagine.
It's like they're 2 8-year-olds trying to figure out the rules on a family vacation. It's adorable. And Poirot is no good at it, and Arthur Hastings asserts that it's because he doesn't do any investments with his actual money, and he's like, well, you're right there. Maybe I should start doing investments. Fine. And he does it out of spite.
Yeah. But I also love how Poirot thinks the rules don't make any sense. Because he gets really angry about it.
Can I tell you? Because they don't.
They don't, but it's a game. So, it's a game.
It is a game.
I mean, if you're playing Settlers of Catan, for instance.
Yes.
If this was real life, if you're bothering me as a neighbor, I would just set fire to your wheat. I'm just gonna,
true,
you know? And you can't do that in the game.
Right, exactly. Arson.
Arson for Carson.
Yeah.
Title of a children's book.
This is our son, Carson, who does arson.
But also
we're trying to parson out the details. But
also the Amazon rainforest is burning, and we should probably figure that out, huh? Anyway.
Somebody needs to.
Yes, please. Fire's not always the answer.
Not always, but...
No, not in this case for sure. Yes. So we see a man check into a hotel.
Motel, Holiday Inn.
Great, thank you. And his name is Wu Ling.
Yes.
And we get some problematic stuff. And
vis-a-vis the representation of...
Yeah, it's not great.
Asian immigrants to England.
Let's just say that for this entire episode, it's not good.
I mean, it brings up this nice conversation. Well, it's not nice, but this important conversation.
Yeah.
That, like, representation does matter, but not only, like, putting people of color on screen, but, like, making sure it's not mean.
Yeah.
Like, it's not ill-intended.
Yeah.
Because there's, like, a huge... Like, sometimes, like, people will be mad about someone getting cast as, like, a serial killer or, like, specifically... I can't remember a specific case, but it's like you probably don't want that representation because like that's gonna be negative. You can probably let this one slide. Yeah, good.
Just do a better job at representing real people and not stereotypes. Yeah. How about that?
I think Asian American actors in this episode say a total of 10 words across the board.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not great.
So he's checking into the hotel.
Yeah.
And what is his deal? Who is he?
He is like a shady businessman. He asks for a pack of matches for a cigarette.
Yes, he does do that.
He looks a little haggard. He's got missing teeth.
Yeah, he's been traveling.
Yeah. Beautiful Fu Manchu mustache on this man.
Oh, yes, indeed. He does have a mustache.
He does.
There are mustaches in this episode.
Can I tell you, so many. Like, Poirot, obviously. Jap, obviously. But every associate of Jap in this episode has a mustache. Every police officer. It's nuts. I love it. It's just so strange.
Yes. We also get Poirot going to a bank and asking what his balance is. And he usually has 444 pounds and 44 cents. Basically.
Essentially.
Shillings, whatever.
Man after my own heart.
Yeah.
Though,
always make sure.
If I may.
Yes, please.
Mr. Wu Ling is in town for a business meeting.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the purpose of his visit. So we also see, like, as he's checking in, we're getting, like, these cuts to the bank where he is expected to arrive to take care of some business.
Yes.
And, of course, he runs late.
Yeah. And then we see he had been smoking a cigarette, and then we just see it. There's a shot of it sitting in an ashtray, still smoking into the sky. But he is nowhere to be seen. But meanwhile at the bank, Poirot is told that he is overdrawn.
By 50?
And then 60.
60
pounds. And he is outraged and asks to speak to the manager, basically. And
he does not have a haircut to pull that off.
No, he does not.
So he goes back eventually to his apartment, office, thingamabob.
Being very fussy.
Oh, very, very fussy. And so then he gets a visit from... Yes, go on.
My fussy egg boy, that's all.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad we stopped for that.
Yeah, I'm glad we did.
No. I am, truly. But, so yes, he's being very fussy. And then he goes back to the office, and later on, Miss Lemon says that he has a visit from... I don't know, the bank manager?
Yeah, Lord...
Farquaad.
Sure.
Let's just call him Lord Farquaad.
Okay.
That'll make things easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he, of course, thinks that it's due to his overdrawn account, and, you know...
They're going to set it right, and he's, like, very smug and very polite.
Must be a mistake. There's no way. Yes, very smug. He offers the bank manager a drink, and he offers Hastings a drink, but then never gets him one.
Yeah.
And then asks Hastings to get his drink.
Yeah. It's iconic, honestly. But yes, so then the bank manager is like, well, you know, I want to make sure to get this taken care of right away. And he's like, I'm so glad you think so. Yes, of course. This is so wonderful of you to stop by. And then the bank manager's like, wait, do you already know what's going on? It's like, well, yes.
He's like, do you know about the disappearance of Wooly?
And Wuling, yeah.
Yeah.
And Poirot's like, sure.
Why not? Let's say yes. And I'm already on the case. Poirot is a great improviser.
Yes. So then we do see the body being discovered.
Yeah.
Well, we also see the oar that the bank manager brings into the office.
Oh, yes.
And they talk about, like...
O-R-E, not O-A-R.
Okay, I did not...
Sorry, yes. The O-R-E.
With a paddle is like, man, I must have dozed off again.
And they talk about, like, if they smelted that ore down, it would be pure silver.
Yeah. Meanwhile, what they actually have looks like fool's gold. Like, the actual prop looks like pyrite. Very much so.
Irate Pirate.
Mm-hmm.
Note to self, another title for a children's book.
Pirates of the Caribbean. So, what happened? What happened?
Tristan is channeling Winnie the Pooh today.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So they just start meeting with Jap about the case, right?
Yeah, basically.
That's the next thing.
Yeah.
So what happens is, when they're investigating, they realize that a young bank clerk called Charles Lester had called on Wu Ling at his hotel. Charles Lester is an American, and
boy is he.
Actually sounds like an American.
Yeah, I was very pleased. Well done. Wondered if that guy is actually American.
It's possible.
I'm gonna look it up.
Clang.
Clang, clang, clang goes the trolley. Sorry.
Yeah. so much train noise today.
Yeah.
So yes, and he says, "No, I didn't see him at the hotel. What are you talking about?" And then they leave and come and ascertain that he was there somehow.
Yeah, they go back to the hotel to interview the front desk clerk.
Yes, that's right.
And they think it's this man called Dyer that had been there to collect Mr. Wu Ling. The front desk clerk is like, yeah, no, never saw that guy.
Right.
And then Hastings leaves behind his book that Mr. Lester gave him, which has a big old picture of Lester on the front.
Right, of course.
So the hotel clerk retrieves it, brings it out to Hastings, and goes, oh my gosh, this is the guy that came for the other guy.
Yeah, this is the guy that came to see Wu Ling. This is the one. And so they go back and say, hey, what gives?
I like that cutscene. Because it's just like, yes, that's the guy. And then immediately, like, you just see Poirot and Hastings just, like, shadily sitting back in this chair in Lester's office, just looking at him like, really? We had to come back to this?
Yeah, he's like, I'm sorry. I panicked. Sorry about that.
The actor is American. He's from Chicago.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, he was born in Kansas City and then moved to Chicago.
Everything's up to date in Kansas City.
Boom, boom. So they confront him about him lying, and he's like, listen, oops.
Yeah.
Oopsie. And so
Oopsie doodle.
he becomes the prime suspect for a while, right? And then they lead him to a criminal somehow.
Well.
Well, the taxi driver, right?
Now where I was going
is here.
Okay, tell me where you're going, Tyler.
I'm going with Lester's now the prime suspect for Poirot and Hastings.
Yeah.
Jap, however, is still insistent on this Dyer guy.
Oh yeah.
And was like, he's the one. He had something to do with it, and everyone else is just like, no, we're moving on. But Hastings is just now obsessed with this man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's the one that he's tried to caught for 7 years, right?
Yeah.
He's got a big criminal record.
Gotta pin something on this dude.
Yeah, for the love of...
Such like a cop.
Yeah. There's this really fun scene later on where they're trying to capture Mr. Dyer, where they go to this HQ.
Yeah, that was a really interesting
Yeah, it was really cool.
bit.
Yeah, basically they have a map and they have these secretaries moving these model cars around on this map.
So bizarre.
And they have a radio.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
I guess it was the advent of Dispatch in England.
Very fun. Very cool.
Yeah, and I think it was Jap that's listen, we've got this great system. You're going to love it.
And Poirot was this is actually very impressive. A+.
And then there's a woman who's, helping out with this demo.
Yeah.
And at one point, at the end of the scene, she gives a little smirk, a little sexy smirk look, I'm very attracted to this, this very good method of investigation.
Yeah, it was very interesting. It was deep sexual energy.
Yeah.
It seemed directed at Jap to me.
I know.
Which is ooh, good for him.
No, I mean...
that mustache.
And also,
What'd that mustache do?
Oh, boy.
So, they're trying to, find Dyer to bring him in for question, or to question him.
Yeah.
And, they're all, converging... all cars are converging on this one spot.
Yeah. In a market.
In Chinatown.
Yeah.
Go figure. And they're not even whoever costumed this episode should be fired.
Oh, God.
Because they were just dressed in the most stereotypical garb. It was nobody would dress like that in England, whether you're an immigrant or not. I feel, or not every person on the street, would have been in whatever these garments were.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was But anyway, they're converging on this guy. There's no, there was a way for him to escape. He could have just ran.
It was.
It was so easy for him to get away.
It looked like Chris Pratt from Jurassic World doing the Velociraptor thing.
And then so they converge on him, and the guy is doing the Chris Pratt thing.
Yeah.
And then Jep is like, "We got him!" And he's
so
just so excited.
So
and for a minute,
satisfied.
I was just like, "Why are you so excited?" There's 3 cop cars surrounding this dude. And I was like, you know what? Because he could have easily outrun these men.
Yeah.
Maybe he was legitimately excited.
Yeah.
That the plan actually worked out.
And this Dyer fella has a big suitcase full of money.
Yeah.
So he's been up to something. Stocks and bonds.
No one has a suitcase full of money for a good reason.
I would agree with that, yeah.
Well, what if you're paying a ransom?
That's not a good reason.
I mean, it's still
a negative thing.
Right.
Is it?
I mean, you might not be in the wrong here, but someone's doing something bad.
Yeah, not great.
It depends on what kind of ransom. If it's sending people toes ransom, that's no good. People need their toes, Tyler.
Debatable.
So they capture this Dyer fella.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So they converged on Dyer because they were in a
suitcase full.
dire need to.
And why is his suitcase full of money?
Did we figure that one out?
I feel like we do, but it
doesn't
matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at all.
Because he's not the guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
spoiler.
So Jap still at this point is all about pinning anything on this dude.
Tax evasion. Anything.
Racketeering. Racketeering? Racketeering.
Yeah, racketeering.
I like racketeering better. The racketeering test. Can your robot commit fraud?
Like he's on a tour of racketeering.
Yes. But then eventually, and I forget, is it Pearson, the Lord Farquaad?
Yeah, Lord Pearson.
That
Lord Pierce Brosnan
wants them to go down and check out the opium den.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. He's like, I think you might.
No, that was Mr. Ho. The two
they
hired
call me
hands.
Mr. Ho. This is me as a sex worker.
Oh boy.
All right, so the hired hand.
Yes, Dyer leads them somehow to these two hired hands. So they go back to Chinatown, and Mr. Ho leads them to the Red Dragon Club, which there is the opium den.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where they catch Dyer smoking opium. And then Jap is... Yeah.
I thought it was...
Lester.
Yeah, Lester.
He's also there, but Dyer is also there smoking.
Everybody.
And then Jap is like, haha, can't miss you. Wait, and this is where we find out why he had the money, because he was smuggling in opium from his last trip abroad.
Yes.
Boom.
Okay. That's it. So yes.
And then...
Turns out opium's illegal?
Yeah. Who knew?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Lester is having like a wet dream on the couch.
He is... Both in his imagination and also because he's very sweaty.
He is so
sweaty
Sweaty
boy.
Betty, yeah.
Yeah.
So they get Lester and like, what are you doing here, buddy? And he's like, I love the opium. I just ooh, I love it. And so they hold him there for a while, trying to explain, get him to explain whatever. And then Poirot goes back home, and he's playing Monopoly with Hastings.
Right, yes,
And then he's like, Gadzooks, I got it.
Like he does.
Yeah, and then he runs off. And has Pearson meet them at the Red Dragon.
But before that, we meet Mrs. Lester.
Oh, yeah. We should.
Oh, right, that's
the world's
important.
greatest actress.
Who is probably not American.
I would imagine not.
No.
And trivia bit, she comes back later on in the series to play someone completely different.
Oh, that's fun.
Times.
Yeah.
I'm
I
so
love
glad
when that
they brought
happens.
that actress back.
Well, she came back in like 2011, so I'm hoping she had acting lessons in between that time.
Yeah. Just grew into herself a little bit more.
Yeah. Took some improv.
But we found that Lester has in his possession Mr. Wu Ling's passport.
Yeah.
Right.
Why would he have that?
I wonder.
Should we take a break and find out?
Oh, yeah. Hey everybody, this is Tristan Miller, the Saucy Sleuth, coming at you, not alive, but not dead, not yet a man, but still not a corpse. Just to remind you that we do have sponsors for the show. Go to audibletrial.com/adcpod to browse the unmatched selection of audio programs. Seriously, it does help. Also, if you rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff, standard internet industry fare. Oh, right. Oh my gosh. I need to tell you something so important. We're on the Scavengers Network. You can check out Historical Hotties. Both Melissa and I have been on that program. They do excellent work over there. Spooky Spouses, all those good podcasts, good times. You can follow Melissa at Melissa J. Meli. You can follow me at Tristan J. Miller 1. You can follow Tyler at It's Tyler Riley. You can follow the podcast at ADC Pod on Twitter. I hardly know her. That one was solid. We have Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/TristanJMiller to support this program and others like it. I do 2 other podcasts, Animazing with Christina Tucker. It's a beginner's guide to anime. I know nothing about anime, and she knows a lot, and it's been really fun doing that. And then the other one is called Positive and Negative, which is an interview podcast about the intersectionality between mental health and the arts. And you can check those out on all your major podcatchers. We're on iHeartRadio now, which is fantastic. All right, enough of me blather, blubber. My tongue isn't made of rubber. That's from Dr. Seuss. Let's get back to okay, so let's go. So then they go to the Red Dragon.
Again.
And Pearson is there.
Oh, we're back.
It felt like a mere second to us.
Yeah, so strange.
Yeah. Please continue.
Listen, I could have us start doing the interim live. We could all do it 3 together, and it would just be chaos. Because we did that once when we were doing ads, and it was just like...
I mean, chaos is so much fun, isn't it?
Yeah. What a chaotic energy. But they go there, and Poirot is like, Mr. Lester, and he slams something down on the table, and he's like, how do you explain this? And Mr. Pierce is like, his passport. And Poirot's like, I didn't say that it was his passport. It was like, I can see it from here. It's like, can you?
Did I move?
It's Monopoly rules. And then he's like, oh no. Yee.
And like he seems like so perplexed. Like, you lured me here.
No, he seems so betrayed. He's like, yeah, we're trying to catch you.
Yeah.
You dummy.
And this is what this is the thing that happens that I don't understand.
Okay.
I don't get about criminal activity.
Yes.
You could have just left it to like the regular police, but you know
Poirot.
that Poirot is like top of the field, and yet you still sought him out to hire him to find this man.
Dumb.
Yep.
Dumb.
So dumb.
It's
So
true.
dumb. I would have just handled his little money business. I would have paid out of pocket. Like, you know what? I just don't need him coming back to the bank to question me, to bother me
Anymore.
But no, you messed up. Mm-hmm. You messed up.
It's true. I mean, criminals in real life are dumb like this too. Anyway.
So they catch this guy, and I was hoping he was gonna pull, like, do you remember did you see Grand Budapest Hotel?
Yes.
Where when Wraith Fiennes just like up and runs away from the police, I was hoping this old man, because they build so much tension, and I was like, he wants to run away. It's good acting, but he should have. It would have been very funny.
Yeah.
To see this old guy running up the stairs.
Would have been great.
But they catch him. They let Lester go.
Yeah.
Because he didn't do anything. But they don't notice that, because the last shot of that scene is just a close-up on Poirot, like, thinking hard. But they don't go, oh, by the way, you can just leave now, I guess, Mr. Lester. But they get him. It's that guy. It's very sort of Scooby-Doo.
It is a bit. But then at the end, we get a nice little scene with Poirot in his office where turns out there was a check that came in for him that was supposed to have been deposited like a week ago, so he shouldn't have been overdrawn.
Now, the best part of that is he's been using the back of the envelope for the check to notate his Monopoly winnings.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, that's right.
It's been there the whole time.
Did I move?
Got a check about a week ago.
And that's the episode.
Yeah, and he wins Monopoly finally against Hastings.
Yeah.
And Hastings is pouting, as he's wont to do. So this episode, I'm conflicted about. Because, on the one hand, I think it's a perfect Poirot episode. I think it's very solid. The plot-wise, I love it. I love all the interactions between him and Hastings. But the amount of weird race stuff does, like, drop it down to a 3 for me. Because it is just, like, so much. And I do understand that they're, like, trying to give a semi-accurate portrayal of what it might have been like in London at that time. But it doesn't feel accurate. It feels just mean.
Yeah, it feels lazy.
Specifically from the 1990s. Like, this came out in 1990.
Yeah.
So, like, you should have done better.
Yeah, it feels pretty lazy.
Yeah.
I would give it a 2. Most of the points come from my enjoyment of the Monopoly scene.
It's so good.
I'm not a fan of this story, mostly because, I mean, yes, the rampant problematic racism, that stuff is not good. But also the fact that, yeah.
Sorry, just you saying problematic racism as if there's non-problem.
I know, right?
Well, you know, there's racism and there's racism.
You know, no. But also, I just, anytime there's like money and business and that's what everything revolves around, I'm like, I'm so bored. Who cares? Business.
But there was a murder. There was a murder in this one.
There was, but like, it was about business. It was a business murder.
Are you implying business murder or
Third title of a children's book.
Mr. Riley.
Normally, I give points for racism,
That
but
is true.
today,
Not this day.
not this day. Because usually, like, it's at least like on brand, if like in a way, for the time period. But yeah, it was just mean and it was just lazy.
Yeah. Like, you could have done better.
You had so many actors of color on that set, but like you can literally count the words they spoke on 2 hands across the board. Like, nobody said more than like 2 words a piece. And you had so many of them there, and they could have been much more involved in the story. Especially since they weren't doing a direct replication of the short story.
Yeah.
So it just felt lazy and problematic. I did like the...
It's my favorite rap song.
I did like the Monopoly bit. I did like those moments of levity, and I typically don't. I typically don't like moments of levity. To the surprise of no...
Put that on a t-shirt.
With Tyler's face. I typically don't like moments of levity.
Just not frowning, but not smiling. Just a neutral...
Slightly judgmental face.
Perhaps one eyebrow slightly raised.
Yeah, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah.
But I give it a 2.5.
Okay. So we're averaging 2.5, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I would say, like, also, I really enjoyed all the character stuff between, like, Jap and, like, our 4 like, main
between
characters.
our mainstays, like...
It was really solid
They're
and
solid.
fun.
Consistently.
But it was just, a lot.
Yeah.
Just, oh boy.
I also just want to note before we wrap up, rugs are Oriental, not people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Oriental.
Yeah.
Yep. That was one of the things that actually did feel time period appropriate.
Yeah.
So that in particular didn't bother me as much. I mean, of course.
I've just heard it said, like, out in the world recently.
Oh, yeah,
so I just wanted to,
That's
just
not
wanted
good.
to note that just for the general public.
Yeah. Public service announcement.
Yeah.
I have this character flaw where I do think that, like, archaic terms like that, because they're so stupid, are funny, unfortunately. Which is unfortunate.
I do kind of get what you mean.
Yeah, because it's so absurd.
Yeah.
But,
like,
don't encourage
if you were like, I saw someone biting their thumb at somebody else in public, like, I would guffaw audibly.
Yeah.
Because of how archaic that thing is.
Yes.
Totally disrespectful in its period.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was more archaic than it was.
Yeah.
And
sure.
I've heard that like a few times, like over like the past 5 years.
Oh, okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because biting your thumb at someone today doesn't mean anything.
So yeah, I now call this meeting to adjournment.
Gavel sound.
Bloop, bloop, bloop.